What is up, guys? Welcome. Come on in.
December 1st, this clip is from, as well as December 1st was the day that Dylan Mortensen was interviewed.
Did the bedroom doors of the 4 murdered University of Idaho students have electronic locks like this? A former tenant posted this photo and says all 6 bedrooms had combination locks.
The fuck they did?
It's believed the students had a lock on the door similar to this. This is a keypad
The fuck
lock.
they did?
Truly not sure how mainstream media got it wrong, but there were no locks, padded locks on any of the doors of any of the bedrooms, and that had been known for quite some time.
Now, Kara, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
This is the interview that Ashley Banfield does with Xana's mother, December 1st, and then she broadcast bits and pieces on December 2nd and December 3rd, and then a little bit.
There is a mysterious sort of 4-hour and 45-minute block of time that's unaccounted for by the police timeline. The police say that your daughter Xana and her boyfriend Ethan were at the Sigma Chi house from 8 until 9 p.m., but then they don't have any information on where they were from 9 p.m. till 1:45 a.m. Do you know anything about that from either your information from the police or Ethan's family or anybody?
I may be candid in saying this, but I think that they were at a bar.
And where do you get that information?
Do you guys remember that? I mean, they were at a bar. A bar. Now, would it make sense as to maybe why the corner club? I'm just throwing this out there. Like, why are we redacting every single person that was in a public establishment? Because they underage, maybe just not even them, but just like everybody and anybody. I mean, I don't know.
From? Did someone tell you that they'd gone from the Sigma Chi house to a bar before they ended up home?
That's what their father conveyed to me, that he thought that they were at the bar at that night. So, yeah, I mean, that's what college kids do on the weekends. So.
But you don't know for sure that they left the Sigma Chi house, went to a bar.
This would make perfect sense as to why MPD kept this hush-hush and why Jeff told people that Xana stayed in and got pizza, because he was told not to release this information to the public because Ethan and Xana were, yes, underage, and then being out in the bars.
On social media anymore without being some kind of weird stalker. So that wouldn't surprise me. I don't think that that's what it was, though. I will be honest with you. I think it's closer than that. I think it's deeper than that. I think I think they have information that they're not giving us, and it's real fishy. That's what I will say.
When you say you think it goes deeper than that, what do you mean?
I mean, I think it was somebody closer than a stalker, and I don't know who. I'm not gonna specify anything like that. I'm just going to say I think that it's somebody, and I think possibly they may have trusted. That's the only thing I can think of, because how could something like this happen so quickly, so quietly, so without any answer, unless it was somebody super close to them? You know what I mean?
Do you think the person who did this had been in that house before?
I think they knew them. I think they may have even been friends with them. I think it had to have been somebody close to them to have been able to get away with it like this. Without, it just doesn't make sense. None of this makes any sense. It had to have been somebody they trusted that was, you know what I mean? I mean, somebody who knew the house well, somebody who knew them well.
Somebody who knew them well.
Now, please keep in mind, when we fast forward to 2025, after the suppression hearings, we find out the dates of when Dylan Mortensen had interviews with law enforcement. And that would be November 13th, November 17th, December 1st, December 13th, and then finally December 30th.
The December 13th was with FBI, because we don't have the December 13th interview. But how that came out was from the paperwork that was filed. So December 13th is the date, the same day that all hell broke out, which is the same day of the white Honda Elantra. That's the same day that Dylan meets with the FBI on December 13th, 2022.
She also said something very significant that none of us knew before, and that was that her daughter, Xana, likely had a lock on her bedroom door. Her mom believes that her bedroom door had a lock. And she also said that Xana's dad, Jeff, had just the week before this murder been at that house to fix a lock.
The hinges. The hinges.
Whether it was the lock on the bedroom door or an outside door to the house, that's unclear. But Xana's mom knows that Xana's dad had fixed a lock at that house just the week before. I want to bring back in Brian Enton, who has been on this case. Brian, you see the photo on the screen right now. On the left-hand side is an image of an inside lock on a bedroom door in the basement, in the lower floors.
No, that was from years before.
And the person who took that picture was the former tenant who moved out in 2009. And he
2009. 2009? Wait, what? Are we sure that wasn't 2019? I mean, come on. She said 2009. I'm trying to give her grace to say, I think she meant 2019 was the year he moved out, not 2009. That was me being kind, but regardless, that shit is not how
Fox Digital that his bedroom door had a coded lock, and that's the photo of it. He said every bedroom in that house had a coded lock on it. But if we look on the right-hand side, that's a recent picture from social media of the second floor bedroom across from the kitchen. And you can see that does not appear to be, at least in this picture, a coded lock. So it's possible that in the last 3 years, some of the bedrooms may have actually changed. But it is quite a development to hear, definitely, that Xana was on the second floor and that her mom believes she had that lock and her dad had worked on it a week prior, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first time we've heard that, Ashley.
I mean, yeah, that's the first time we've heard that, Ashley. I've been out here standing in the cold for weeks, and I haven't heard shit like that, Ash. I mean, but in other news, Nancy Guthrie is still not found.
So I'm just trying to think this through here. A different lock. Is that a reason that the killer was possibly able to get into the room? Certainly possible, but just heartbreaking. I was listening to your whole interview so closely. Just heartbreaking to hear.
Day 19, killer still on the loose. You guys, think about the Nancy Guthrie case, okay? What day are we on? Day 30, right? I mean,
hear that mom speak for the first time. Very similar what she's saying to Kaylee's parents, who I spoke to a couple of hours ago. Just frustration that they don't have information, and frustration that they say the police aren't keeping them updated as frequently.
Okay, but yet the Chapins, we found out, were being updated every single day by fucking Payne. Talk about some fucking privilege up in this motherfucker. Okay, remember I told you guys that boys get treated differently in that town? Okay, like holy shit, Xana's mom doesn't know what's going on. Kaylee's parents don't know what's going on, right? They're all frustrated. Well, fast forward, whoop. It came out that Detective Payne every single day called the Chapin. Wow. That did not happen with any other family.
So that is something that is new at this point. Obviously, Brian, tomorrow is the 3-week mark since those kids went out on a Saturday night, like all college kids do, and had a great time and got home at a pretty reasonable hour, for college kids.
Okay, so this is what happened in Idaho. Everything like ramped up, okay, when like the days are getting like, oh my God, it's dragging on. Here with the Nancy Guthrie case, it's just mind-blowing to me that as the days went on, it was like
1:45 in the morning. And I'm sensing
you know what the difference is? Money. Nancy Guthrie coming home or not coming home affects zero economically. Sad, but true. These kids represented everything economically for Moscow.
Well, from the Gonsalves family. And I cannot imagine the pain that they are suffering, especially since they've been left in the dark. But they are starting to, their patience is giving way to frustration. It seemed pretty clear.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that they, I mean, you heard what they said. I mean, they don't understand. Their main frustration tonight seemed that they just don't understand why some of the people are being cleared. They want to know what the alibis are. They're like, is it just a friend who said I saw them? I mean, they want to know what the crystal clear alibis are of why some of these people were cleared. Something else interesting, Ashley, because I heard Xana's mom bring it up and you asked her about the stalker. I got some clarification tonight about that from Kaylee's family. They actually don't know of a specific stalker or that she was being stalked. But they did say something similar to what Xana's mom just told you, just that, you know, these were very, very pretty girls and that it wouldn't surprise them if there was a stalker or people, men following them around. But they did not know of a specific person.
Well, that's fascinating because the police said in a news conference when a reporter asked, where did you get the information about the stalker, to start with? The police said it came.
Kaylee's down. Police are clearing people too quickly. Well, we know publicly only so many people were cleared. So you have the options of picking the two roommates. Okay. And we know that they were talking about the girls because they said a she. Then you have Jack Showalter. Then you have Eric. Which they never acted like anything was up with him. Then you have everyone that was at the house when the 911 call went out. Who else? And then they eventually threw Jack D. Throw some D's on that. So who do they think was being cleared too quickly? Duh. The roommates. 1000%.
Came up in interviews that they've been conducting. They didn't say who in the interviews told them that Kaylee had a stalker, but Kaylee's dad, Steve, has revealed that Kaylee told her dad, Steve, that she had a stalker. So I'm trying to figure out if it was Steve who brought that information to the police and they've not been able to corroborate it.
Banfield got that wrong because Steve clearly came out and said that we would have known if Kaylee told us, but Kaylee never said that to us. So she got her wires crossed there, but Steve never said that.
Or if someone else brought that information to the police and Steve could corroborate it. Is that still unclear?
So I think there was confusion along the way is what her parents told me that, I don't know if they were misquoted or how it actually came out that the dad said there was a specific stalker, but he says that is not the case. There is not a specific person that they know of. It was more of just this general feel.
The Idaho4, the Red Flag Project, episode 6, If Locks Could Kill. If you go back and look at what news stories would break on the days of Dylan's interviews with law enforcement or the days right thereafter, it seems pretty obvious that someone was leaking something from those interviews.
Oh, what you say it ain't so, Lena? Yeah, exactly. I lined up every single date that Dylan had an interview, and then what would actually come out after Dylan had an interview.
Yes, law enforcement to media. Now here on December 21st, 2022, our good buddy JLR would make his way out to Moscow, Idaho, and he attempted to interview the Vape guy. Yes, the store manager, just like News Nation did, but he didn't have as much as a success as News Nation did.
Police made no arrests.
Why was law enforcement?
You guys love this. I love going back down memory lane. Again, now December 21st, why this is important is because December 22nd, JLR, how did you not catch the police out there at the house, getting on all fours, barking like dogs, testing what it sounded like? What the JLR? We need to go back and check out whatever JLR posted on December 22nd. See if he was at the house. I'm going to hit him up, see if he has any B-roll film. He was in town when they were doing stuff on the 22nd, because on the 23rd of December is the date of when they put in for the search warrants. But JLR is there, literally there, after they have the name of the suspect, December 19th. So think about this. JLR gets to town after they find a name through IGG. The family, the Gonsalveses, were told about this. Because how do we know this? Because that's when the guy said that they were floating around that date. And then he actually bumped it even up further between, December 13th and 19th. So
running them from the stalker narrative, only to then push it in their probable cause affidavit.
Like I said, they
so think about this. They are running from that narrative of a stalker, right? That Kaylee didn't have one. Right, like basically like abandoning that ship, like it's just not accurate, right? It's just not factual. Kaylee never told anybody that. To then literally the probable cause is like, we have to go stalker.
I'd say 4 went in there to try to speak and get some clarity from the vape shop manager.
Look at JLR. Look at baby JLR. Look at that little baby. Look at him. Come on, give it up. JLR investigates. Look at that little baby. Aw.
Spoke to another person there, but this is the encounter I had. Check it out.
Where's your vape guy? Where's the vape guy?
Hey, where's your vape guy? You guys, he goes in there. Hey, where's your vape guy? Where's your vape guy? He calls him vape guy. Shit, you not listen.
From the vape shop manager, spoke to another person there, but this is the encounter I had. Check it out.
Where's your vape guy? Where's the vape guy? Talk to me. So I want to know more about the stalking situation. Oh, he doesn't want to talk. Do you want to talk? Okay.
Do you want to talk? JLR.
They didn't want to talk. They didn't want to talk. So was that just an exclusive interview with News Nation that they gave a contract between them not to talk to anyone else but News Nation, Brian Enton, or did the vape manager see that his face was plastered all over the news after he gave the interview, and people might have been questioning that, or he basically didn't want the exposure that he thought he was going to get. I'm just going to show you this vape shop. At the very least, he's claiming that the girls came
Look
into
at you guys.
this.
Nobody is there. You guys got to see the shit. This is that town. Nobody is there. Nobody's there. You know why? It is Christmas break. Okay. So let me tell you something. It is 1000%. I mean, put all your chips in a bag. They needed an arrest. Okay. Before those kids were going to be coming back for that winter semester. Period. End of story. Okay, because people weren't going to come back. Would you come back? Look at, no, that town is dead. Okay? Dead. That town runs on University, period. You're not having any store there. This vape store, you think that vape fucking store is going to be there if the university isn't there? Everything. That university owns that town. Whatever that university wants, that university gets. One way or another. And guess who's there to make sure it just pumps? The popo. That's how all them motherfuckers have jobs. You don't need a big force if you don't have the university there. You could probably roll with like 5 cops. A chief,
Vape shop here. I'm going to show you what it looks like. It is closed. It is closed. But that is, let's see, all the vapes.
In closing, check out this last clip. I was stunned when I saw November 23rd, 2022 as the production date. Someone told law enforcement as early as at least November 23rd, 2022, that Kaylee had a stalker. Yes, before 11/23/2022. Who was that person? It has come out that it came out.
It was the police. It was the police. The police literally were asking all of these people about Kaylee, and all these people, do you know if anybody have a stalker? Did somebody have a stalker? Who had a stalker? Go back and listen to these interviews we've compiled. Okay, it was the police. The police putting it in like stalker, huh? Stalker. And none other than Dylan Mortensen. Dylan Mortensen talking about that stupid fucking Winco situation. Okay, and it wasn't a stalker situation. It was a guy trying to get fucking a girl's digits.
In an interview
I mean,
that was had
these people in Idaho not know what it's like for someone to hit on somebody? Shit.
between law enforcement and a person that they interviewed. It has to be in reports because it came from an interview. Again, this date would also be the last ever police public press conference until the arrest of Ryan Koberger. Remember, Dylan was interviewed a second time on 11/17/2022, and then a third time on 12/1/2022.
In a desperate search for answers, police in Idaho say they've received hundreds of pieces of information regarding one of the murder victims, Kaylee Gonzalez, potentially having a stalker.
No, that's true.
Clarity.
You guys understand this? We now have every single piece of interview done other than anything that the feds did. None of this is true. There is not 100 reports or tips or interviews, nothing. Nobody was saying that Kaylee Gonzalez had a stalker. The narrative that was pushed from law enforcement to mainstream media is gross, or mainstream media needs to take a bow because y'all bitches are sick as fuck. Y'all lied. Okay. Going back down and watching every single episode I've ever done in this case, I documented it all. It's all here. It's all fucking lies. Because we have everything that the media put out, right? Documenting them. And then we have every single report that was written by Idaho State Police and Moscow Police Department. Get fucked. None of that is true. Okay?
In the near future in regards to Kaylee potentially having a stalker.
Yeah, that whole situation, it's a whole nother dynamic of this investigation.
Why would it be a whole nother dynamic of this investigation? It should be the main part of the investigation, or it should be nothing, because that would be motive, or that would be, why this, why the crime happened. Okay. Was because one of these girls had a fucking stalker, and the guy just tried to, isolate her. And then, oh my God, stuff just tumbled. Well, if anything, that would be either Xana, okay, or Maddie, okay. But we have blood from the victims that's separated. If you were upstairs sleeping, none of your blood came downstairs. And if you were downstairs sleeping, and I say sleeping very lightly, none of your blood went upstairs. Your blood never left either of your rooms, except for the people from upstairs. Make that make sense? Well, it sounds like there's two people at least committing these crimes. At least. Because all four mixtures should be in Xana's room. They're not at all.
And so that's something obviously that we're looking at.
Every day that these people would talk, they knew this, and just like lies.
Mm-hmm. But
the dynamic of this
actually having a stalker.
Yeah, that whole situation, it's a whole nother dynamic of this investigation. And so that's something obviously that we're looking at.
Mm-hmm. But
keep looking. There is no 100 interviews of a stalker. Fuck out of here.
This morning, authorities say they have not been able to verify or identify one.
Now, that's true, right? They have not been able to verify or identify a stalker. That's the truth. The other part that is the truth, though, is there was no tips coming in to say Kaylee had a stalker. You understand? So where does that even evolve? Where does it even start from? Well, Dylan Mortensen, Winco.
This comes as police receive other tips from the community, like identify one. This comes as police receive other tips from the community, like surveillance.
Dude, they're trying to say that Kaylee having a stalker is coming from tips from the community. No, it's not. Not one bit. Go and show me those interviews. We have all of the Moscow Police Department interviews. We have all of the Idaho State Police interviews. Nobody is out there calling up the police and saying, come interview me so I can talk about a stalker. None. That town is deranged as fuck.
Video, which could help investigators piece together a timeline leading to the gruesome stabbing deaths of Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Shanna Kernodle, and
who the fuck is Shanna? What?
Gruesome stabbing deaths of Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Shanna Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin.
Shanna Kernodle. You guys, you would think that this episode that they did is like the first time they're ever talking about this. Shanna Kernodle.
Stabbing deaths of Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Shanna Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin at this off-campus home.
See, coming up Black Friday countdown. You see that? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Shanna Kernodle.
I can show you what you missed. TikTok, seen along with their surviving lifelong.
And the survivors were all so active on social media.
I really don't think that they were. I don't think Bethany was that active. Have you guys seen a bunch of shit from Bethany?
Is that helpful to the investigation to learn about them and their friends and their lives?
Stupid question.
Well, I think it's both helpful and it also.
What does that help with? What does that help to the public? Getting to understand anything that the public would need to know. How their social media. What does that mean to you?
Just enlarges the investigation overall. It just has.
That's just dramatic shit.
Well, I think it's both helpful and it also just enlarges the investigation overall. It just has more people for us to.
You know what? That's crazy. It enlarges the investigation. Who the fuck did y'all interview from their fucking social medias? Because you want to know what that would mean? Why didn't you interview the kid that Kaylee was going to go live with in Texas for when she was moving away? Because I think that'd be a phone call that I would be making, right? Somebody that's hitting up Kaylee's ad to say, yeah, you can be my roommate in Texas. Okay. Please. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely garbage. Lies. Fucking PR my ass.
We try and contact and try and get information on the evening in question and just be able to do a full analysis and review of the case.
The restaurant where Shanna.
Without IGG, literally without IGG, this case would never even be able to be brought up on charges. Think about that. Now, don't you think that you would want to, like, I don't know, give some credit to IGG and how important it would be? And it should have gone in a probable cause affidavit? Because so many people out there deserve to have their crimes solved. Like, if you, come on. And not only are the people deserving of who the crimes happen to, but the community is deserving of that. So why the fuck would you leave IGG off the ticket? What is wrong with you? What is, and instead we're going to lie about everything versus just saying we used IGG. It's not a big secret. Like, IGG can be used. So what the fuck are you doing?
Anna and Maddie worked. The Mad Greek has reopened. Their coworkers left devastated and afraid.
It's hard for them to want to come back to work because they don't necessarily feel safe here. They don't know who it was that did this
on campus
because they don't necessarily feel safe.
Find me an ID, someone's initials ID in being interviewed by law enforcement and send that to me, because I want to pull, I'm going to do a FOIA request on it. Show me where you can find that the Idaho State Police or Moscow Police Department interviewed a woman by the name of first and last initials I and D. Find me that. Because after this would have went viral, right? You need to go fucking, I got to go talk to Ireland now. How about this? I covered a case in Idaho, 2 cases. There was in Ireland, like literally, what's his name? Isaac Funderburg. Okay. Spain, Ireland. I kid you not. And then I come to the, Idaho4 case, and we have another Ireland. So according to our sources here, Mad Greek is closed now for good. Holy shit. Right? How could it not make it?
They don't know who it was that did this.
On campus, state police
didn't feel safer.
Maybe all the cocaine, maybe it got sniffed out. I don't know. That it seems like a total place that, like, upperclassmen would go to, like, be like ritzy titsy.
They don't know who it was that did this.
It's Idaho, though.
On campus, state police increasing visibility for the foreseeable future, and the university now saying it will offer remote learning for the rest of the semester, as some students worry about returning after fall break.
We're over a week away from these murders. At this point, there's really more questions than answers. What do you have to say to this community that does seem to be on edge right now?
So I've been out in the community and I've talked to people.
Who have you talked to? We have no report that you've ever written up, Aaron Snell. So I guess now I can mark this down as a post to use to say, Aaron said that he was out talking with people in the community. So I would like all the reports of who Aaron talked to. He says it right here. He was out talking to people in the community. You'd have to write a report on that. Okay? Okay.
As we're getting dinner, as we're getting coffee, we talk to people, and there's fear in this community. But as well, there's trust in the police department that they know that this work is being done. The community.
There was not trust there. That's a goddamn self-serving statement if I've ever heard one.
The community has patience. Other people don't.
Okay.
That this work is being done. The community has patience.
The community has patience. The fuck are you talking about, man? Talk about spin. That's spin right there. The community didn't have patience. You guys are the ones that rushed an arrest over money. You guys basically fucked your investigation over money because you needed to have it all an arrest before people came back from Christmas. So it wasn't us over here. Okay. It was the university that was down your fucking throats. That's the truth.
Other people don't.
And it's going to come out.
Well, that's certainly true. And police say that, while people have left town, those that are connected to this case remain very cooperative. And Michael, they also want to assure everybody that this investigation will continue at a rigorous pace throughout this Thanksgiving holiday.
Yeah, we know that they're doing
The Red Flag Project, episode 6. Make sure you guys go ahead there and fast forward. And then, after you rewind, and on 11/17 or 12/1, those are the only two possible dates of when Dylan Mortensen was showed pictures of Brian Culver, according to the suppression hearing. States Exhibit S1 and S2, Ashley Jennings oral arguing. And ladies and gentlemen, that is far too soon to be showing Dylan Mortensen pictures of Brian Culver unless he wasn't figured out some other way, even.
And then guess what? We find out that she wasn't shown a six-pack at all. She was shown a picture on after the arrest, and it wasn't that she was shown. She just blurts it out that, hey, I went ahead and looked it up myself, and I do not recognize that person. I totally thought that I would, know his eyes. Like I would see him and be like, oh my God, that's him. She's like, I just total fucking like, yeah, no. You guys, now think about the Guthrie case, okay? They knew that Dylan was not going to be able to pick out this person from fucking hole. Like, just it's not happening. They knew that. If they didn't, they would have literally, I think, given her an eyebrow lineup. Like, fuck shit, pick him out. They knew that she didn't see what she said that she saw. Okay, Dylan comes in and says, I did not recognize him. I went and took it upon myself to look him up. I didn't know. I thought I would just like chills, Nope. It just didn't happen. Didn't happen for her when she saw his picture. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, because there was a woman that's basically a sketch artist that came out from a mask, but we saw that in the Guthrie case. And she put hair on him. She's like, this is who we're looking for. By God. She could pluck him out. She can pluck him out. Oh, fuck. You guys are bad tonight. Dylan couldn't pluck him out. Fucking hilarious. Gotta laugh time.
Through the transparency, thanks you. Please
We do thank you. We always thank you here. We love going back down memory lane. This is my birthday month, so shake your fucking tail feather. Dylan Mortensen couldn't pluck him out of a bushel of pubes, an eyebrow lineup. Hey, shit. Nothing stuck out. I mean, she didn't even say, oh my God, that's him. Just to say it. Dylan's like, I never saw that man in my life. I don't even know who the fuck that is. So I think that that's not who she saw. I think that there was two people, And then everyone's like, well, Brian Kober has no friends, so who the fuck was he with? Well, I think he is totally the type of guy to be like, hey, put me, I'll do some controlled buys for you. You want me to buy some drugs? I used to be a heroin addict, so I know the lingo. So Detective Mowry, where you been, motherfucker? Welcome, Mowry. Good to see you in here. Good to be seen, right? Yeah, just went down memory lane here. It definitely doesn't need a bigger bell or ring. It blows people's eardrums then. Just the nice little Can you guys hear it when it rings a little bit? It's perfect. I think it's perfect. She never raised an eyebrow. She saw him and never raised an eyebrow. I'm telling you guys are on one tonight. Let's all do some shots. Shit. Give it up for Gail G74. Member for 19 months. My birthday's on the 19th. Look at that. I appreciate you, Lana. Happy birthday month. Thank you so much, Gail. You are appreciated. It is full storm over here. I don't know where you guys are at, but it is definitely a storm. Well, saddle up because Hitler's about to have his pubes adjusted. Definitely gonna ding a ding on that. DM said, this is Tina with What the Fuck Transition Services. What the fuck? That is not who I saw. Nah. I know it's perfect sleeping weather, right? Okay. Well, we're going to close out with, I want to keep us here for right about an hour. Just taking us down 2022. 2022. Look at this one. This was, gosh. I think it's, yes. Okay. This is back shit. March 14th of 2022. March 14th. That's my
and there's a person of interest.
So I published this video again March 14th, 2023.
Honestly, I feel a little bit lucky knowing that we have somebody and there's a person of interest. Nothing feels worse than having nobody and just nothing but doubt.
I agree with
and
that.
7 weeks of that, or close to 7 weeks of that, was a tremendous amount.
Nothing yet.
Brian Koberger faces 4 counts of first-degree murder.
The investigation against Brian Koberger.
Investigators are continuing to collect evidence at the scene. Investigators are working to develop a timeline to relevant events. Autopsies are taking place today on all the victims so we can continue to gather evidence and solve the crime. Investigators are working to follow up on all leads and to identify a person of interest. Based on details at the scene, we believe this was an isolated, targeted attack on our victims.
Okay, hold on.
We do not have a suspect in person of interest. Based on details at the scene, we believe this was an isolated, targeted attack.
Okay, what details at the scene? What? What the fuck? That would be the roommates. The roommates are the only detail at the scene. And Dylan's saying that I basically was fucking ass to elbows with the killer and he did nothing to me. So he didn't, like, fuck, we're all fine. Okay, he just wanted the people that he got. Because I'm fine, Bethany's fine. That would be the only details at the scene. Because everything else was cleaned up. Okay? So, wow. Right? Just going back and like listening to this. The only thing that you could say about that, the only detail at the scene is that Bethany and Dylan were not harmed and they were in the house. And Dylan was right in front of fucking the killer. So
continue to gather evidence.
You couldn't come out and be like, hey, guess what? The killer fucking waved at Dylan and, you know, proceeded on. So guys, don't worry. I have nothing to worry about. They were just interested in the others.
And solve the crime. Investigators are working to follow up on all leads and to identify a person of interest.
Thank you, September.
Based on details at the scene, we believe this was an isolated, targeted attack on our victims. We do not have a suspect at this time, and that individual is still out there. We cannot say that there's no threat to the community, and as we have stated, please stay vigilant, report any suspicious activity, and be aware of your surroundings at all times. What we do know, or what we don't know, excuse me, the identity and location of the suspect.
There it is. There it is. There it is. He's like, what we do know. I mean, what we don't know. And it's almost like one of those, hey, did he slip? You know, what we do. I mean, what we don't know. What we do know. I mean, what we don't know.
The location of the knife or any clothing that was worn by the suspect.
Right there. Right there. We don't know what type of clothing. What the fuck? We know that Dylan said clad in black, all black, head to toe. Weapon, right? Who knows? Maybe they found a murder weapon. They're like, fuck, there's no DNA here that belongs to Brian Koberger. Act like we didn't find it. Who knows?
Currently,
honestly, we can say that stuff because that's how bad that right now we can say that we don't trust law enforcement.
We have 25 plus investigators working this case.
25 plus? You mean like 100 plus? They were telling us 25 plus. There's 120 people that worked this case. I mean, maybe on November 16th there was only 25.
What we do know, or what we don't know, excuse me.
What we do, I mean, what we don't know.
The identity and location of the suspect. What we do know, or what we don't know, excuse me. The knife or any clothing. The identity. Currently.
With what we know now, I believe that Fry slipped and said what we do know subconsciously. Because listen to the rest of it. And now remember, 38 interviews between November 13th and 18th. This was the first presser. This was November 16th. And I've been counting because they said that 38 interviews were had between November 13th and 18th. So I was going over all my work and I'm like, God damn these lying sons of bitches. And they did know what he was wearing. He was clad in all black with a black face mask. A balaclava. Because November 17th, they had already interviewed both of the girls again for like their big powwow. Did they know the location? Did they know Brian Koberger? Did they get a name from some other way? From the undercovers, if Brian Koberger is doing a controlled buys. It just seems like up his alley to want to get involved with, the cops. Like, hey, of Brian Koberger, and did they know Brian Koberger when they did this presser? And then they have to keep that all hush hush so that they were ticketing rather in Elantra literally every week for being parked where it should have been parked. And that just doesn't come right to the forefront. Like, oh my God, you guys are looking for what? Oh my God, we've been ticketing one over here. That never occurs. How come? How does that not occur? Everybody in that area knew about this case. And then knew about, you had people calling in tips for the White Elantra in freaking Ohio. Okay, saying that they passed away to Elantra and it, was suspicious because of X, Y, and Z. On November 16th. You be the judge. This is my bombshell. I believe that Fry slipped with his tongue and he was reading to say, this is what we do know. He fucked it up.
Because one of those three things I do know that they knew. They knew that he was clad in all black and that he had a black face mask. And whoever
they did know what kind of clothing that they were looking for.
Comes out and say, we don't know what he was wearing. Wow.
Oh yeah, why the fuck would you even say that? Think about that. What a stupid ass comment to even say. We don't know what he was wearing. We haven't located any clothing.
Why would you even need to say that?
What we do know, or what we don't know, excuse me. The identity and location of the suspect. The location of the knife or any clothing that was worn by the suspect. Currently,
you know why they made that a big deal? Because they looked at that crime scene and they're like, this motherfucker stripped. Whoever did this had to have taken off all of their clothes. All of their clothes. Let's be honest. If you're going to say it's one person, then somebody literally changed again, changed weapons, changed gloves. It was a Freudian slip. Hump Wednesday. Glad and all black now.
Did law enforcement know it was Brian Koberger on November 16, 2022?
I've always had this feeling that it was like, listen, you guys need to find a different way to get to this man. Because it just felt like it was a fake investigation. It was like, here, 6 weeks of fake. Look at this shit. They're not following up. Like when anything would ever happen, they're not, hey, this was really fucked up what this person said. So let's, they call Gower back in and his fucking car is steam cleaned. Nothing to see here. Steam cleaned. Why? Kind of random. Whatever. He dropped somebody off on Indian Hills trails. Oh, wait, that's where we are actually locating and finding the car that we're going to follow then. That's Brian Koberger. Get the fuck out of here. This is absurd. And as soon as the jury would have heard that, the jury would have been like, okay, yeah, this is totally that dude dropping the person off. Yeah. It's gonna be wild. You just start not believing in the investigation. But if we kind of look at the investigation, you want to talk about conspiracies? It's like they knew what happened from jump, right? But we cannot. We gotta woo. Why do you have the undercovers lying? Then you got Brian Koberger, who if he would have gotten in the mix, how could he have gotten in the mix? If it wasn't done by, just one person. Where were the undercovers that night?
From that slip of the tongue.
I don't know.
And based off of...
I don't know. But you guys can take yourself on that wild path. So... how about any where's any of the discovery about going and getting Remember when they went and got the USPS cameras that they wanted, the delivery cameras for a certain day? How come that hasn't surfaced? Where are the cameras for that? They didn't put them in any evidence. That was never like they went out and tried to get that. Where did that ever come from? And they did that so early on that it's like, what did you think was delivered to the house? So we need to trace that down. That needs to be a FOIA that happens really soon. Is why they went for the USPS truck with the camera. We need to see what the returns were on that, because that has surfaced never, not ever, nothing. If you guys can remember that. Gower is just CI and turn people in. I wouldn't be surprised if he was doing some extra stuff besides just picking people up and dropping people off. Lana, do you think that BK got bamboozled because he had something on WSU? No, I just think the investigation's shit. I think that Brian Kober, like other people, you get railroaded by the evidence that's not there. And so all that you have to ask yourself is I know for a fact that they lied about what they said that they had. And that's just when you start to question everything. Because that's normal. You should think about it. If you're in a relationship and your boyfriend or girlfriend tells you, I was at fucking Jimmy's, like, or I was at Susie's, I wasn't doing it, fuck off. And then you find out that your boyfriend or girlfriend was not at Jimmy or Susie's and they were planting it, 6 inches deep. Anything that they would ever tell you from that moment on, you would always question, right? It's no different. So the government here lied, flat out lied about a lot of shit. And so that's where it's like, okay, well, how do I have any faith in the investigation? You don't. You can't. And if you say that you have faith in it, this is where the reasonable doubt comes in for me, is that I am not putting anybody in prison. Okay, when cops are lying. Okay, it's just not happening. So you just can't. And the moment that you do that, like, there's something wrong with our society. So they lie. They railroaded Brian. Now, whether or not he's the killer, right? I mean, he said that he did it. I believe he's going to come back out here really soon and tell us all that he's going for habeas, or potentially just wants to, he's pulling the deal, blah, blah. He wants to appeal, blah, blah. So I think for me, it's not it's about a fair trial. We, the people of the United States, the government works for us. Okay. We need to have fair trials, right? And we should have trials. And those trials should play out in front of the world, not in some box where there's no TVs. But that didn't happen here. Due process did not happen. And that's not the United States of America. So it's not about Brian Kober, to me, being innocent or guilty. To me, it's about, holy fucking shit, we can't even get a fair trial in the United States anymore. That's what's happening. Richard Allen couldn't get a fair trial. Karen Reed, she overcame not getting a fair trial. She would have had every which way to appeal had she been convicted, and even Bev Canone said that. So I just think that it shouldn't even be about if he's innocent or guilty. Like, he didn't even have a chance, which means we don't even have a chance. Like, anybody that would have been in that situation, we don't have a chance. And so it's like, he could be the guiltiest motherfucker out there, but they don't get to decide that. And they don't get to decide that in November of 2022 and then fake evidence or lie in paperwork about the evidence for somebody to say, oh my God, well, I'm fucking so cooked that I got to cut a deal to save my life. That's not the United States of America. So that's my like. And the moment that I see that happening to Turtle Boy, you better believe that I'll be the first person that will fucking stand up and say, "Get fucked." Okay. So I want to see some filings of some motions here for the in the Turtle Boy case. If there's some suppression issues that should happen, if there was this, if there's that, if things were obtained illegally, they get tossed. Okay. I just believe that Turtle Boy has an uphill battle with that. And I also know that the Commonwealth is out for a pound of flesh. And they're going to take it out on Turtle Boy. And I just really think that if I was him, I would do everything and anything to cut a deal. Because I would not trust those people as far as I could throw them. And I think that all of the shit that's coming out in that case right now is absolutely disgusting from all sides. You don't beat corruption with corruption. You don't beat hate with hate. You know, I thought that Alan Jackson and Yannetti were better people. And I thought that we were still fighting for John O'Keefe. So when I look at everything that's going around in my orbit, speaking of which, I was going to be ending my show and telling you guys about some bad news that our channel just received. Doesn't mean that it's just a setback, but Judge Tesla in the Sheldon Jeter Jr. case came out on the 27th and said, deny, no new trial for you. You're going to have to go through the post-conviction process of, X, Y, and Z. Because that was on his first direct appeal, or his direct appeal, I should say his first, but his direct appeal. You guys, that case happened in 2021. It is 2026. And his direct appeal just now is coming to a close. That's not acceptable. And when I see these lawyers and they just keep putting like continuations and saying, hey, can we get an extension for this? Can we get an extension for that? They all make me sick. But Judge Tesla's a racist piece of shit. And he went ahead and on February 27th, 2026 said, I'm going to read you guys. I'll do it in a different live and I'll read everything and how he presented it. He's an absolute garbage judge. He fucked over Jamie Brown back in the day on the police officer killing in 2001. He's racist as fuck. But Sheldon's going to win and get his new trial through ineffective assistance of counsel, but he shouldn't have had to go. He shouldn't have to continue on. It should be happening now. And Judge Tesla fucked him on that. So, yeah. But the good news for Sheldon is that he actually has people now that know what the fuck they're doing. And we're going to start getting loud, like really fucking loud, like really loud. We're not going to be, threatening and whatever with witnesses. We're going to be getting loud about the system over there in Pennsylvania, in Beaver. And we're going to see if Nate Bible has truly earned his position. So we'll see about all that. But yeah, everybody deserves a fair trial. You get your day in court. The Shanna Gardner case, the Jared Bridigan case. I mean, literally, the ATF knew that Henry Tenen was not the shooter. And he was railroaded by the Jacksonville Police Department, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Department, and the fucking district attorney's office. And then they kept him out of a courtroom for 2 fucking years. And now Henry Tenen, who was I pleaded guilty because I killed Jared Bridigan. Motherfucker was not the shooter. Finally, he gets to be in a courtroom. And what does he do? I want my trial. I didn't shoot anybody. I didn't kill anybody. They coerced a confession out of him back in 2023. So, like, that type of shit just needs to stop. So right now, to me, I don't care if Brian Colbert is innocent or guilty. Just like I didn't care about it in 2022, whoever did it. Like, arrest the person that you think did it. You have a fair trial and everything plays out. But the government thinking that they are fucking God, it needs to fucking stop. Like, absolutely needs to stop. And it's going to stop when the sides stop saying that there's a right and a left. There's a right and a wrong. There's not a right and a left. There's a right and a wrong. There are pedophiles that are on the left and there's pedophiles on the right. Okay. How about you start thinking about citizens versus elitists? Start thinking that way. And I think the outcomes will be a lot different. But it's crazy. So I also think that some of the laws need to change. I don't think that if you have a capital case, that there should ever be a fucking plea deal. That's crazy. We the people are paying your guys' salaries for you to do what now? Diddle fuck around for 3-4 years, make a bunch of money, and then, plea deal. Fuck no. Absolutely not. You should never be able to use the death penalty as a bargaining chip. Once you declare that this is a capital case, there is no plea dealing. Why the fuck would you plea deal? If you have your case by the fucking cahoons, what are you doing? It's sick. It's fucking sick, man. That's just my take on that. It's just, to me, that's logic. To me, that's common sense. And the only people that should ever allow it to be a plea deal would be the families. And if it's multiple people, victims, it's a unanimous or it's not happening. Because if the families want to give grace because they don't want to, hey, listen, guys, we're not here to take anybody's life. Like, that's not who we are. That person can just rot in fucking prison the rest of their life. You know what I mean? So I think that would be something that the families can say, because like I gotta live with myself, you know? But these little fucking peckerwoods that are prosecutors, it's like we can just fuck up every single day at our job. And the way that we get out of our fuck ups is not to just correct the mistake. It's like, nope. Then we just like rope other people into our fuck ups and then we blackmail the people that work for us. We cover up our fuck ups. Think about that. That's just bizarre. But I'll tell you why it continues to work. It's because I've never heard of anything like this in my life. Think about this. Why should the public defender's office and the prosecutor, right? Okay, that's coming from the same entity. All right. Something needs to change here. That's like, that needs to change. This is my proposal. My proposal is that when there is a murder, when there's a homicide, is that there is a prosecutor and a public defender assigned to the homicide immediately. There's a prosecutor, okay, and a public defender assigned to the case immediately. And now let's see you guys fuck around. Because then you got the public defender's office, right, is watching the prosecutor. The prosecutor, that's just how it should be. Somebody should be there to make sure that it's intact. Okay? And I think that like you're following the case just like you would be if you're the prosecutor to the point of like going out and getting and preserving evidence. I just think that something with that needs to totally change. But it's like the same team, then they like split off And now, okay, you're going to defend this person, and you're going to, what it should be is just always just be about the law. You know, the law. Like a prosecutor should never want to play the game Monopoly with $1,000 and then they get to start with $2. Like, come on. It's bizarre. And then you have a fucking judge who thinks that they're a prosecutor. I don't know. Something needs to change with the circle jerk. And then people that are teaching law school right now, y'all need to get slapped. Okay? They need to, who the fuck is teaching law school that you're telling your clients to waive their right to a speedy trial because I can't defend you? Well, fucking, why did you not learn that at law school when you paid a bunch of fucking money? That's my right. You're telling me that I have to waive my right because, yeah, I can't defend you. That's an ineffective assistance of counsel. Nope, it's not. Nope, it's not. You should not, as an attorney, be able to tell somebody that they have to waive their right or they cannot have you as an attorney. Nope, I'd rather have you with being a little bit handicapped because of, hey, we're going to start in, 180 days or whatever. 6 months, 3 months, whatever the fuck it is. Those are my best chances of not letting the government make up a bunch of circumstantial shit, because nowadays, guys, everything can be circumstantial because of the world that we live in. It's a digital world. So of course I probably Googled something, or of course I probably went somewhere or bought something. Get the fuck up out of here. Okay? It is not 1980. All right? It's 2026. And if I hear one more attorney say that they cannot represent somebody and they would be ineffective to represent somebody by you waiving your right to, if you don't waive your right to a speedy trial, then I think every law school should get fucking fined. Whatever law school you graduate from and you make your client sign on the dotted line to waive their right to a speedy trial, I think that you should, that college should be fined $500,000. And if you think I'm playing, I'm not. Because what the fuck are you learning in school? There should be classes for that. In that, this is for real. Anybody can make a case against you, especially if they have fucking years to do it. Years. You guys, if you're ever arrested for a crime, it's everything that was before it. And then until you go to trial, everything that happens from that moment on, all they're doing is digging into everything possible. And right now, you're able to get a search warrant for fucking anything because this is what the judges do. Jerky, jerky, signy, signy. They don't need probable cause. They're getting whatever the fuck they want. If you waive your right to a speedy trial, you're a fucking idiot. Especially if you're innocent. Actually, let me take that back. Especially if you're guilty. Okay? You're guilty, dude. They're going to make that case against you. So these law schools, these teachers, these professors, they can all kiss my ass. Because I'd be the first person to raise my hand and say, okay, I'm going to flat out tell you that I'm going to go in there and I'm going to be the best in the world. And so who in here is going to be able to teach me to be the best speedy right defense attorney in the country? Because that's what this country needs right now. Speed. Speed. That is how you're going to beat the House. Speed. Look it up. Press them. Full court press these fuckers. They're not ready. They can't handle it. But the moment that you sign on that dotted line to waive your right to a speedy trial, you're fucked. Your chances just went from 50-50 to 75-25. Just like that, in my opinion. So go call up these law schools, ask them what classes they're teaching in law for these defense attorneys to be able to handle somebody's right to a speedy trial. Go stump them. Go ask them. Nothing. Nothing. Well, boo-hoo. You're representing me. And then, what's great is that go get a public defender and make them. No, I'm not signing on that dotted line. I'm not waiving my right to a speedy trial. We're going to trial. When can I go? What's my date? 6 months. Sounds good. When do we want discovery to be closed off? In a month. Because guess what? When discovery deadline's over, there's nothing more that they can ever bring against you. You want to cut that deadline? Immediately. Because guess what this is what they're doing, guys. They are arresting off of probable cause, which is nothing. Okay? They just need to, we think that you did this. And then they make their case afterwards. Do you understand that? They make their case afterwards. They do not make their case beforehand. Never. They just need enough to get probable cause to arrest you. That's why you need to go to trial immediately. Because they do not have a case. They have a probable cause case. They do not have a beyond a reasonable doubt case. You understand? And I want to see these law schools to fucking step up their goddamn game. And I'm going to start calling them. Because it's sick what's going on. Fucking, and then you want me to waive my right to a speedy trial. And then 2 or 3 years down the road, you want me to fucking do a plea deal. Because then you tell me that this is my best chance is to do this plea deal. Fuck you. Get fucked. That's what I think about our justice system right now. Everybody can get fucked. Because our rights are literally being broken in half the moment that we have an attorney and then they tell us what they can and can't do for us. Fuck you. You're going to do as I say because it's my right and I'm not waiving it. But then they scare you in it. They do scare tactics. They say, well, I can't. Then you got to go get somebody else. No, you're actually my public defender. And I want to go to trial and it's my right to not waive. And it's my best odds. They don't have a case against me. And if you give them time to make a case against me, you can make a case against anybody right now in this day and age. Fuck. But these lawyers that puss out and say, I'm not going to be ready in that time. Well, I'm not asking you to be ready. I'm asking you to be prepared. How about that? And they're the ones that have to give us the material. Anything that they don't give us, they can't use against us. So let's cut that deadline off. Let's see what the fuck they have, right? And this is my best odds. Because they're going to make a ridiculous case against me. So I just think that if you go, my best advice, if anybody wants to go out there and be an attorney and they're young, learn and practice speedy trial. That's what I would, you could fucking like make a name for yourself. I'll fucking come work for you. Okay. But especially with AI right now, they could sort out a ton of shit really quick. Especially if you get arrested within like a day or two of a crime. They didn't investigate shit. Karen Reed should have never waived her right to a speedy trial, right? They didn't have shit against her. You get arrested right off the rip. Do not give these motherfuckers time to make a case because they will lie. They will lie. They will do anything. That's their job. They don't give a shit. They did not get in their line of work because they're some like admiral moral motherfuckers. Okay, they got in their line of work to make money. Have government jobs. Have pensions. Have vacation time. So that's my advice. Ann Taylor waiving Brian's right to a speedy trial fucked him. But she also never thought that you also think as a lawyer that people are going to be ethical and they're going to play by the rules and stuff like that. And then you bring something to a judge and you're like, wait a second, now you're calling my expert witness a conspiracy theorist who has X amount of years that he's devoted to actually that side. Like, that's ridiculous. That's a problem. Right? I stopped studying to be a paralegal because I lost faith in the system, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think that cases should just have one judge on them. I think that cases should have a panel, 3. I don't think that a parent should have been found guilty of second-degree murder yesterday in Georgia. Because you know what I think about that? I think that if a parent can be found guilty of second-degree murder and not be involved with it at all, right? Then why can't a parent be then brought up on charges for if somebody raped somebody? Okay. You knew that you had a deviant son or a daughter. All right. Any crime that your kid then commits in Georgia, you should be brought up on charges. Like, period, hands down. After what just happened in Georgia yesterday. For those jurors to only be able to deliberate for under 2 hours, that's just absolutely mind-blowing. There are shit parents all over the fucking country. All over the country. There are so many shit parents all over the country. I don't know. But then again, Georgia has a really interesting second-degree murder statute. Go read it. It's mind-blowing. I would not live in Georgia. Not because I think I'm a shit parent. Not because, Jesus. Know your state laws, man, because they're wild these days. That's all. For the parents' sake, in the Idaho4 case, let Kohlberger out of this plea when he wants out and go to trial immediately. Have a trial. And then, because kind of look at the Richard Allen case. Richard Allen had a trial, even though it was shit. It was not fair. I do believe that he's going to eventually win and have another trial, right? But do you see how calm it is? Okay. I think but anytime there is a trial, it eventually becomes calm way faster than if there was not a trial. Look at the cases that did not go to trial and look at where they're at. Look at cases that do go to trial and where they're at for the families, right? So nobody during the Idaho4 case missed a paycheck, right? They made a shit ton of money, man. Those lawyers made a shit ton of money. In fact, I'm going to FOIA it. I want to know how much money Ashley Jennings made. Her lying ass. I'm going to write her a letter and say, Ashley, how much did you make in 2022? How much did you make in 2023? How much did you make in 2024? And then how much did you make in 2025? Let's see what Ashley Jennings made. And I think that people should get paid. Hey, we live in the United States of America. Go make your money, right? Go make your money. But I'll be damned. Okay, if you are going to make your money by being a fucko, right? By playing a circle jerk game for 3 years, knowing that if we just do a play deal right now, no one's going to make any money. It's just like a divorce case. Think about it. That person's getting divorced. There's 2 lawyers. They know, hey, if we settle this right now, we make what? $1,000 a piece, $500 a piece. If this lasts for 3 years, you're going to make about 20 or 30. I'm going to make about 20 or 30K, right? And then we have like 10 clients. Do the math, guys. It is a fucking game. It is a numbers game. That's what the justice system is. It's a numbers game. And it's disgusting. Anybody out there that ever gets a lawyer to get divorced, you are fucking part of the problem. You are part of the problem. Go get divorced all day. You guys don't need a fucking lawyer to get divorced. Okay? Hey, you got married. You decided, hey, you want to bring some kids into the world? Guess what? It's 50-50, motherfucker. And if you think that you deserve more, fuck you, then you deserve less. Because who the fuck are you? Right? You better have some goddamn good reason, like abuse. And you better be able to like literally prove that shit. But feeding into that shit. You want to start a really good strike? Don't get divorced, or go get divorced and do it through the courts without lawyers, and let's see what happens in this country. Okay? Go check it out. Do it. Maybe we should start like the ALS challenge. We should start the lawyer challenge. Okay? Go get divorced. If you want to get divorced, don't use a lawyer. You guys, the courts have to help you there. They're going to tell you. They mediate you. Okay, you want to get divorced? Okay, here you go. Here's your guys' assets. Here's your guys' debts. Here you go. And if you really want to capitalize, go fucking claim bankruptcy before you do it. Joint bankruptcy. Knock out everything. Keep everything you got. Divide it up. Have your credit score be shitty for 2 or 3 years. Who gives a fuck? But fuck this, right? Get divorce challenge. I'm telling you, the biggest whore in the entire United States of America are fucking family law attorneys. Okay? They are nobody could ever say, I'm in it for you or your child. Okay? If their case is closed in 30 days, they just literally lost out on potentially 30 grand. Come on. Be smart. But I think we should do it. I think that we should have a divorce challenge. I would love to see in the state of Ohio, okay, if, I don't know, 100,000 people get divorced, right? God, wouldn't that just be great to see that only 10% use lawyers? Oh, that would just be music to my fucking, ooh, that'd be sweet. Some of the most moral, corrupt people in the world are family law attorneys. Run. All right, guys, until the next one. Thank you guys so much, moderators. And I know Carson's over here like, get WSU Kim on. We will give her a call. We will. Would love to hear her thoughts now, right? All right, you guys rock. Be safe out there. Be safe out there. Tomorrow morning, join me back here. The way the investigation went to the player's name. We have the Shanna Gardner cases back in the courtroom tomorrow morning, March 5th. And it's going to be, I think, a bomb. I'm excited for Henry Tennant to break off his foot in someone's ass.